Hi everyone, welcome back. It's Deborah, and today I'm continuing on trying to use my strips of 12-inch paper that I've got. So I've got a couple of ideas today. This is the first one. So I've taken a piece of the 12 by 3 inch, or yeah, that's 3 inch, and I've scored it at 7.5 inches. So I've got this little flap that comes over. Then I've taken some other pieces of the same thing and I have cut them so that they are 1/2 inch shorter each time. So some of them that you can cut in half or in once, and then you'll get them the right size, and others you'll have to not use all of them. For example, if you cut one that's 6 by 6, you can't use both pieces because both pieces will be the same length, or you could, but I'm not going to. But this one here is like that, so I've got like that's 1 inch apart now. So I've got the 4 papers. Now this one here is a little bit bigger, so I'm going to pop that in there, and this one here is a bit bigger again, so I'm going to push this in the back. So what I'm trying to do is to create like a waterfall effect so that each page is shorter than the one before. Now that is not the right size because it's an odd size, so I'll need to find and cut another piece. Also that one, it seems like it's not quite the right width, so I'll just have to recut that as well. Just needed that sliver taken off the edge, I'm not sure why. And then pop them in so that they are 1 inch smaller than the one before. I now need to cut one, I need one in here. So I need to cut one that is 6 inches. I may even have one on the table here. Let me check what this is. That's 6.5. I think that's maybe all that I've got. I think that one's smaller. No, that's 5.5. I'll just cut this one to 6 inches. I've got plenty of them, but I don't want to go and look for another one, so I'll just put this in here so that each one is 1/2 inch smaller. Now that one's not wide enough, it's only 2.5 inches wide. So I do need another piece that is 3 inches wide. Let me just find said piece and check it. Yes, that's 3 inches, and then I need a 6 inch piece. I'll just put this in here. So they're all 1/2 inch smaller than the one before, like that. Now you've got that waterfall effect. Just push them up, they're not quite in the right spot there. So push them all so they're hard against the fold of this one. So just push all those up. And it doesn't matter which way up they are, I think they're fine, whichever way up you determine. And now I'm going to put some staples in at the top. I'll start with my middle one. And that's going all the way through, only just. This is quite thick, this cardstock. Now once those staples are in, I'm now just going to score that. The reason I do that is that when you fold this back, I want it to be able to fold back so I can access the whole one. Because I've done that front page, I should now just be able to go through and fold the rest back using that line. It'll kind of go to that spot. So I'll just fold them all back except for the bottom one. Don't need to fold the bottom one back at all. Get that folded, that's fine. And then, just because I want to cover those staples so I don't hurt myself, even if I stick it down later into a book, I don't necessarily want to have that so that it catches my fingers or something and creates a problem. I just rip this off, and it only uses such a tiny bit of washi, and if you're like me, you've probably got washi, full drawers of washi, so it doesn't hurt to just use a little bit to protect yourself. And it does an amazingly good job too in covering up and causing that to not be an injury spot. And then you can see now I've got this little thing. Now if you want to, you could put some plain paper on this, or you could even use plain paper instead of what I've done here. But I'm trying to use up these 3 inch wide strips, 3 by 12 inch strips, and that's why I've decided to do that. So that can either tuck into a pocket so you can get it out and write on it, or you could stick it down in your journal. because it's only 7.5 inches tall, so it's going to go in most of journals, certainly the ones I make, except for the teeny ones. So that is one idea. Another idea that you can use for your leftover strips of cardstock. Now the next one, I've actually got this botanical piece out. I'm going to turn it over because it's plain on the back. So I want to use this as a page in the journal, but I want to put something on the back, and this is also quite thin. I mean, it's a nice thick piece. If it's in a book, it's fine, but when it goes into a journal, it probably needs to be a little bit more robust, otherwise it's going to bend and crease, and I don't want that to happen. So I've cut my strips, the thin strips, I've cut them down even further, and I've just trimmed them into different sorts of sizes. You can see I haven't really worried about measuring it. I've kind of cut them in 3 without really trying to measure every single one. And then what I want to do now is I'm going to start down here, and I'm going to put one down here. So we'll get going and I'll start putting one. Now, because I want to put this into a journal, I probably want to overlap this a little bit. Just see which way up. Yeah, that's the way up. So if I want to be able to have that in the journal, I need something, unless I stick it down, I don't want to do that. I need something here to attach it in the journal with. I'm just going to extend that out. So I've got a little, you can see I've got a little piece now that I can use as I go up the side to attach that into a journal. So let's get that straight. And then the next piece, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to put this in. Just put this on here, just putting enough glue on that I can start this off here so that it goes here. And I'm just going to weave these now so that they're woven in and out. So the next one will go on top, but I want to vary them up. Let's find something to give it a bit of variance. For example, I wouldn't put these two together because they're both the same paper. But if I turn that over, that's going to be fine. Okay, so again, I'm going to overlap it so I've got a little bit to put it into a journal later, and just put this down on here, just on the top here. And then obviously I need to now put something down this way. So I'm taking this one and put a bit of glue on the little bottom bit, and I'm going to slide it in, so it needs to be, turn it round so it makes it a bit easier for me. This one needs to be under the first one, like that, but it needs to be over the second piece. Now what I've done is managed to put the same piece down. How am I going to rescue that? I'm going to quickly take it up and I'm going to flip it over, because I didn't want both those pieces together. I want it to look different. Okay, now just get this straight. That's good. And then I need one that goes over and then under. No, sorry, under, over, under. So you just have to think about how this is going to go. Gets the brain working anyway, I guess. So I'm going to use this piece, although that doesn't look very straight. I think they do need, the pieces do need to be straight. So this one, it doesn't look very straight either. So let me use this one. Obviously I haven't cut them very well. Let's try again. It's hard for me to cut these thinner pieces in this cutter that I own. So I just have to try again and recut it a bit better than what I did before. Just bear with me while I get that done. So now with this next piece, I need to be under this piece here. And again, I'm going to overlap it so it's out here. So I've got a bit of a tab piece to actually work it once I get it into the journal. So this one needs to go under there like that. And you need to push them so that they meet on these edges here. So you can put a little bit of glue. Now you don't have to put glue all the way up, because if they're glued around the edges, they're going to hold in place. And you don't want to put glue all the way up, because then you won't be able to lift them to get your next piece in. And this is like going back to kindergarten, I know, but it's quite fun actually. So this one is going, as you do more, of course, you've got more to put them over and under, over and under. This is going to go in here, and I'm just going to throw some glue onto this bit here and then put that there. And you can see that it's coming together. Now, I do want to make sure that they stay joined up to each other. That's pretty good so far, I think. Let's do another one. This one will be, that's not quite the right width. This one looks good. So this is going to be under, over. You kind of just like weaving, any sort of weaving, you need to do your under, over, under, over. That's going to come up here. I've got that upside down, so I might turn it up the other way actually. No, under. It's very important because you don't want to miss one, otherwise it'll look really strange. So that's why I'm taking the trouble to make sure I get them in the correct spot. That's pretty good there. Yep, that's pretty good. And I'll just continue on and finish this up, and then I'll show you what it looks like. So once you've finished doing your weaving, trim the edges. I haven't trimmed that edge because I'm going to use this to attach another piece of paper. And in fact, I can do that now. It doesn't have to be the perfect piece of paper. It just has to be something I can put this into a journal with. So I'm just going to go through, and actually I'm going to put it on the other side to start with. So I'm just going to put some glue on these tabs that I've left vacant. And then I'm going to stick this piece of paper on here. Now I'm going to take this piece and stick it on here as well. So I've got a whole page that's stuck on, and then it will crease here. So first of all, I might just put a score mark down here. Let me turn it over and do that. Let's get this scored. So I can fold it up. And then I'll put another piece on here. I'll see if I've got something that might fit better. Maybe this piece, just for something different. So I've got a transition. This will be on one side of the page and this will be on the other in the journal. So you're not going to see these two together. And I've got a bit of transition. And plus it hides all these tabs that I've done. I don't really want them in there. If they were even and on every bit, I would have left them. But since I didn't do that, I'm just going to sandwich those between these two pieces of paper. That's going to be my page in the book. And then I've got this nice woven piece. So, and I've used up all those little strips of paper in some way. So this looks like it's a white edge, but it's not. It's actually part of the Tim Holtz paper. But anyway, that's another way that you can use your little bits of leftover if you've got skinny pieces. And you know, they don't have to stay the size that they are. You can cut them down like I did into smaller skinny pieces and use them. And that's going to make quite a nice page, and I've got a nice thick backing now on here. So with this one, this is just a little piece of 6 by 3 inch paper that I had left over from all my cutting. I've marked the centre at 1.5 inches. And now I'm going to cut from this corner up to that mark, and then I'm going to turn it around the other way and repeat the process. Just eyeballing that to cut into the centre and getting a nice peak in there. And what I've done now is I've created this big flag, so I can get a page. So let me just grab a page, see if I've got something here. Oh yeah, I've got these ones I was playing with yesterday. And this can be a topper on the page as a flag on both sides, and just stick that on with a paper clip. So you can go also thinner than that. So if you have pages that are a bit, too wide, you can cut these down and do the same thing. So this is a 3 inch piece of paper. I'm just going to cut it down. It's now, it's rough. It's 1.5 inches, but I didn't really measure it. I just cut it in roughly in half and do the same thing. So again, you just need to measure or eyeball the center, which is there, and about an inch up from the bottom. I seem to think that that works quite well. And then going from the corner up to where you've marked it, and again on the other side. And then make sure you get this piece in the middle. It needs to be a really good, nice, crisp piece. Now I've got a bit of pencil on that still, but just rub that off. There you go. And again, if I put that in a journal, I can make that into a little topper at the top of the journal and paper clip it in. Or you could lift it up a bit and make it into a tab. It's up to you really. Now I've just eyeballed that, so it's not perfect, but I think that it looks okay as a little flag. So you could just do a whole bunch of those with your leftover bits of paper. This one I cut, this is the remaining bit. And again, I'm just going to fold it and eyeball it, maybe there, and then trim it. So all of these will go into my stash to be used on another day. And as I've always said, this doesn't have to be the finished product. You can then decorate that up. The final idea that I have is I've taken 3 of the 3" by 12" pieces and I've cut them into 6" pieces. So I've now got 6 of them, and I'm going to fold them over just into a little 3" square. And then I'm just going to put them together into a little booklet. So we'll just get them folded as a starting point. Now, you could again score this if you wanted to, but I don't want to. Got a little bit there that's got a piece of white on it. That's from the glue at the top of the page, so I'm going to have to live with that. Yep, okay, we'll just deal with that. I'll put some ink or something on it later if I don't like it. But just folding them. And then you can pop them together. And let's just put them inside one another, whichever way you want. Just put them in, and there you go. Now you've got this little booklet. Now what you can do is you can staple that. Now this one on the outside appears to be a tiny bit smaller, or that one's a tiny bit bigger. Because it's bigger, I'm putting it to the outside so you won't notice it, and it covers up the rest. And then you've got this little book. Now you can staple this, you can maybe bind it if you want to, or you could just put like a piece of string or something around it. I might see if I can staple it actually. Not sure that I've got a stapler that's deep enough. No, okay, so it's not going to work because my stapler is not deep enough. But I could get a piece of string. I don't have anything just here at the moment, so I can't do that. But anyway, you get the message. So you could bind it, you could wrap some string around it. If you have a longer stapler, you could staple it. You could always cut it down so that the staples will, the stapler will work. And then you've got this little booklet. So then you could pop that into one of your pockets, and you can embellish this up depending on what sort of embellishments that you want on it. So that's it for today, and I hope you like those ideas, more ideas to use your little strips of paper. And even if you had strips that were wider than this, say you had some that were 4 inches, it doesn't matter. You can still use the same techniques that I've shown you here and on yesterday's video. So for now, this is Deborah. Thanks for watching. Cheers.